What's up everyone, we're back at it again. My name is Brad and welcome back to my channel. Today what I want to do is I want to give you an update of two things that I did in my previous videos. The first thing is I want to give you an update of the cuttings that I took of my Philodendron Brasil. The second thing I want to do is I want to give you an update about whether or not I was able to successfully save my monstera adansonii. If you like these type of videos, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's get into the content. Here are the cuttings of my Philodendron Brasil, and they've started to put on some beautiful root growth. So you can see those nice, beautiful roots. I like to start transplanting my cuttings when they're about this length for root development, because if you wait too long, it becomes harder for your roots to transition from water to soil. So let me show you an example of roots that I think are way too long and roots that are going to be a bit of a challenge for me to put over into a pot. Here's a cutting of my Monstera deliciosa that I have in a vase, and it's been in this vase here for quite some time. I mean, to be quite transparent, I kind of forgot about it, and all of a sudden it just put on all of these roots. Now, I actually have some growth that's coming, which is pretty remarkable considering how it's just been giving water, and the water hasn't been dosed with any kind of fertilizer. And then it looks like it almost looks like I have an aerial root, interestingly enough, growing upward. So I guess in time I will go ahead and transition this into a pot, but I need to find a good spot for this so I just don't waste this beautiful cutting. Now let's get back to the Philodendron Brasil. Now, one of the things that I want to do when moving these cuttings over to my ficus elastica is I want to try and get my ficus elastica to have more stuff filled in at the base. The reason why I want to do that is because by getting more stuff filled out in the base, it's really just going to make the overall look and aesthetic of my particular plant, in my opinion, look a lot better. So let me go ahead and show you what the current situation is of this plant that's right behind me, and that is my ficus elastica, otherwise known as my rubber tree. So here we have the rubber tree, and then we also at the base have cuttings of my Philodendron Brasil. Now there's a combination of cuttings in here. So these cuttings were water rooted, and you can see that it's starting to wake up because it's starting to put on some new growth. And then we have some cuttings that were put directly into the soil. And the cuttings that were put directly into the soil, some of them appear to be taking to the soil just fine, because when I tug, there's a little bit of resistance. Actually, looks like this one needs to be put back into the soil, and then that one looks okay. So it actually looks like really one of my cuttings barely made it, but you know, that's part of the beauty of having this plant tube channel, is that you get to see my successes and you also get to see my failures. So I'm just going to stick this cutting right back into the soil here. Just take my finger, create a little hole, and then stick this back. Just like that. Now I also have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 cuttings that are in water that I can put into this pot. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna start off by really just taking my finger and then putting a nice deep hole. I need 4, so that's 2. And we'll call this 3. And then we'll do one more, let's say right here. Once I have that, I'm gonna take my cutting. Again, beautiful roots, nice white roots. I'm gonna stick it in here, just like that. One thing that I wanna point out is I'm making sure that this V, that it's going into the soil as a V and not as an N. So this will be a V, because that is where my new growth is gonna come popping up. So as it's in a V, I'm just gonna stick that in. And when these go in here, because I am placing the union of the leaf and the vine deep into the soil, I'm gonna hold off on watering it too much. And the reason why I wanna do this is because I don't want the cutting to rot before it has a chance to actually put on some new growth. So here's 4, and I actually have a 5th one that's in here as well. So we're gonna go ahead and take the 5th one. And you might be wondering, how long have these been in water? So these have been in water for about 3 weeks. So it took about 3 weeks to get roughly an inch worth of root growth on these particular cuttings. Okay, so again, no watering. I'm just gonna wait. I'm probably going to come back and hit it with some water, let's say tomorrow. Here is the monstera adansonii. The question is whether or not this plant is dead or if it's going to actually come back. I think that this plant actually is going to be okay. If I look here, yes, I do have this leaf that has rotted, but I also have, if you look really closely, I have some swelling at the node. I'll try to focus in on this. Let's see if I can get this good for you. Right above my finger, you'll see a little knob. I think that's a great sign. I'm expecting maybe I'm gonna get some growth to push out. And if that's the case, that would be absolutely wonderful. So for this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue to water as I normally would, and I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. I don't think this plant is ready to be tossed yet, and I hope that in time, it's going to reward me with some beautiful growth. So I hope that this is a lesson. Well, it'll be a lesson if this actually works, that even if your plant looks to be on its last leg, you can still help it bounce back. While it is cold outside, the days are really starting to get longer and longer, and because of that, a lot of my plants are beginning to wake up. One of the plants that is beginning to wake up is my white knight philodendron. Now, last year, I got a white knight philodendron from a big box store, and it really wasn't being taken care of well. And the soil of the actual plant was very, very soggy. So I stuck it outside because I was just doing some experimentation, and it really didn't do well at all. Luckily, I was able to save a cutting of this particular white knight philodendron. I put it in some water. It rooted before the end of the growing season, and more or less it has been fairly dormant. Let me show you what this particular cutting looks like right now. So here is the white knight philodendron, and as you can see, it is beginning to put on some growth. Do you see that? We have a new leaf coming. Now, the reason why this looks a bit messy is because I recently put this in a pot with a moss pole, and I didn't do a very good job of tidying stuff up, which is why you also see some soil in the dish. Don't worry, I will clean it up, I promise. But I really just wanted to show you that this white knight philodendron is waking up, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna get some beautiful growth. And by it being on this moss pole, I'm hoping that I'm also gonna get some nice, big, beautiful leaves as well. So that was really just a quick video of me showing you what I'm doing with my plants and how I'm really beginning to prep for this upcoming growing season. I'm excited to see what the growth looks like. I'm hoping that I can bring you guys some great content this coming up growing season. I have some ideas in my head. If you have ideas as well of things that you want to see, be sure to leave them in the comments section. I'm thinking about also doing more stuff outside as well, because not only do I like houseplants, but I also like to go outside in the garden and just do some beautiful landscaping as well. So if you enjoyed this content, if you want to see more things about plants, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.